Welcome to my review of the GI Joe Skystriker vs. Cobra Hiss tank. Starting off, this is a wild set. This is a Hasbro property being made by Mega, which is owned by Mattel. As far as I know, Mattel and Hasbro have been the GI Joe and Cobra of the toy industry, so that is wild to see that they're teaming up for something. And I pray that this is not the only time and we do get future sets. So let's go ahead and get this set open and dive into the review. Well, I got everything built up out of the box, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at things. But real quick, just a once over of the massive Skystriker, tiny Hiss tank, 4 figures, and I think you can tell which one we're going to need to talk about. Let's go ahead and dive it right on into that. Alrighty, first up, we've got Ace. As you can tell, something's a little wrong here, because his feet do not want to stick. He does not want to stick standing. So, fortunately, that's an issue. Hopefully you don't get it just like I did. Luckily, he's a pilot, and he's going to be sitting down most of the time, but still not something that I would like to see. This foot, I can kind of get to stand on the center one, but that's the best I can get. I couldn't get the other foot to want to stand. So that's unfortunate, and I will be reaching out to customer service to see if I can get that replaced. That is probably the biggest negative that I have about this set. Everything else, probably going to be positive. So coming in closer, mostly new molds as far as I'm aware. I'm not too well versed with the parts that are from Call of Duty, because most of these figures are going to be a mix of Call of Duty figures and Halo figures, and they might pull something from other parts of the Mega lineup. As you can see, the helmet is removable. It does have a new, as far as I'm aware, newly sculpted head. It does have a hole in the top, so you can add an accessory like a helmet, which I will show later on. It's got a nice printed flight suit. Almost looks like an astronaut suit. Little fishbowl helmet. It's got some black, some red, more black and red, black stripes on the side, and then legs. It's got red on the torso, red for those wires there, or hoses. His gun is not painted, and then I think that's a knife, and that is not painted either. So I would have liked to see those two things get painted, but otherwise looks pretty good. And let's move on to the next figure. Okay, and then next up we've got Duke, who is phenomenal. He comes with 3 accessories: the helmet, the little rifle here, which is an interesting, it's like a HK-55 mixed with an M2 carbine. Notice that it's got a little thing that sticks out on the side there. That is intentional, and that is so figure can hold the rifle and then tuck it under his arm, and while, like, say, hanging off the side of a vehicle or rappelling out of the side of a helicopter, be able to stabilize shooting. So it's an interesting thing. I don't like that it's a permanent fixture, but it is what it is. That's the rifle. And he's got a little backpack that does not have any print on it, neither does the weapon. Little backpack. I don't think this is a new backpack. I think this is a Call of Duty backpack. And then figure himself. We got another new head sculpt that is not the same as Ace, and I'll bring them in. See if you can notice that. They are not the same. Look at him, Duke's goes straight back, whereas Ace's kind of goes back over, like combed over to the right side. And then on the back, Duke's very combed over versus Ace's that's a little less combed over look. Okay, and then as for Duke's chest. I thought it was going to be the same as this torso that we got with Call of Duty, but it is actually different. It's got more sharper buttons, some more like pressed lines, top there, as well as on the side. There's some more defined lines. And looks like the pockets are a bit more rounded versus squared on the Call of Duty shirt, and the collar is different. Duke also has, looks like a little knife, or maybe a spare magazine for the rifle, but probably a knife actually. Boots are brown and they're a separate piece from the pants. Leg attachment, green belt, tan shirt, and he's got an American flag that is facing the wrong direction, but for the 80s that is correct, and nothing on the other side. And he's got this little sash, which I think is a new piece as far as I'm aware. I would have liked to see the grenade be painted, but it's not. But that's okay, because not all the toys, Hasbro toys, were painted. And then we've got that head with a peg hole there on the top. So let's get that guy out of the way. Let's see, let's just put him straight up. Alright, and then as for some size comparisons, there is Duke next to Captain Price, and then the TV show Master Chief. And real quick, let's pop Chief out of there and throw a Marine in real quick. It's about the same height as the Marine almost. Price is a little bit taller. Want to stand up? Okay, that's fine. One thing I did want to check here with Duke. Will that work? Yeah, that works. It's a bit tight, but no. Yeah, a little bit tight, but it works. And just for funsies, get Ace back in here, and yep. The Halo Marine helmets do work on their heads, so in case you were curious, because these do have hair, which majority of the Halo, all the male Marines that I have seen do not have any kind of hair. They're all bald or shave-headed, but it's nice that we might start seeing these heads pop up on Halo Marines. Alright, and then our next figure up is going to be the Hiss Tank Driver, who looks perfect. I would not change, honestly, anything about this guy, except maybe have given him a weapon. That's the only negative that I have. Doesn't necessarily need one, and I can see why they didn't put one in, but would have been nice to have a weapon for him. Range of motion. Definitely a new head, definitely a new torso. As for the rest of them, I couldn't tell you if those are new parts or not. But from what I understand, I think the legs are new parts, but the arms may be reuse. And lastly, we have probably the best figure to come out of the set, which is Cobra Commander. Get him off of his stand. I don't know if I mentioned it, each figure comes with their own printed stand. Cobra comes with this kind of dark blue, and then the Joes kind of have this dark green metallic, which is not the same as some of the Halo sets, or at least any of the Halo sets that I have. It's a different shade than, say, the Razorback. They did not match up, and I can actually go grab one of those here in a moment and show you. Let's get on with Cobra Commander here. So, very nice printed Cobra logo. Got a very nice stripe, which carries on down onto his boot, and he's got where the spats printed onto his boots. Very nice. He's got that same like knife leg strap on his leg, just in black versus the green on Duke. Very nice molded weapon. New head. Pretty positive that's a new torso. Actually, I know that is a new torso. He's got this detail on the back, which is interesting. This is something that was on the action figure, not on the TV show character. Because on the original action figure, you could actually store the weapon on the back, which this does not look like it has the ability to do so, because that's too small to fit into the peg on the back, and it doesn't do anything with that little hole right there. But it's an interesting detail. I would have liked to see this weapon be able to be properly stored on the back like the actual action figure can do. He's got red on the belt buckle right there. Interesting. So overall, pretty nice looking figure. Helmet looks good. Oh, he's got some black on his strap going onto his little backpack thingy there. Overall, great figure. This is probably the best out of the whole lineup. Duke's a close second, but I'm going to give it to Cobra Commander. Alright, and then on to the vehicles. We've got the Hiss tank here, which is, like I said earlier, it's a bit tiny, a little underscale in my opinion. I think it should have been 2 studs wider, 6 studs here. That's probably like an extra half stud, given the tracks stick out a bit, but you know, 7 studs, it probably could have been 8 studs wider and looked a lot better in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. You'll notice a ton of printed parts. There are no stickers in the set, which is beautiful, and especially once we get to the Skystriker, you'll see how beautiful that actually is. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and that's actually printed on both sides. 13, 14 unique printed pieces on this vehicle. And that's just on this vehicle. So we've got the turret here, which rotates all the way around. You can fit the figure in there. And then this is, like I said, printed on both sides. Got a little bit of a control panel, which is nice. And then you got another Cobra logo right in the center, which that I don't think is actually on the original toy, but the rest of this looks perfect. So we got the 788, very iconic with his tank. Cobra logos. The 363 is also pretty iconic. Another interesting thing you'll notice down here, there's actually a ball, which could probably be used to put like a tow, what is it, Stinger missiles. With the original toy, they had a like trailer that had like a missile launcher that you could tow from the back, and that has the attachment, so that leads me to think that that might be something coming on in the line later on. Excuse me, it wasn't Stinger missile. Stinger was the like 4-wheel drive truck that they had, and then there was a little missile cart that came with it, and the missile cart could also be towed with his tank. So that leads me to believe that that is something we may be seeing in the line later on. As of right now, this is the only set in the GI Joe line. So I hope we see more, and that is something that leads me to think that we may see more, that they're giving the forethought to include something like that that could be compatible with the set later on. Just my thought. Inside the cockpit, we got a nice clear piece. And something that is super awesome that they're one-upping Lego on is all of the glass pieces, as well as all of the large printed pieces came wrapped in paper, so that they wouldn't get scratched in the bags. Lego needs to take note on that. I have had so many Lego sets get scratched on the glass pieces from bouncing around loose in the bags with the parts. But they're wrapped up, cushions them, protects them. They're not getting dinged up in transport. One up in Lego there. On the inside, there is not any kind of like control details. Which there's like a little, like maybe a tile right there, or like a slope facing him or something like that, just to give like the illusion that he's actually doing something and not just like sitting in there and driving the vehicle with his mind. For all we know, he could be a robot or something. You never know. But yeah, there's no control panel, toggle switches or anything like that on the interior, but that is something I could probably add, but it would have been nice to already have it. But we did get a ton of other print parts, so we'll do that. And there you have it. That is the Hiss tank. Alrighty then, and then next up we've got the Skystriker, which is pretty big. It is on wheels, so it rolls pretty easily. Notice all of this printed detail. Every single one of those is printed. These wings are one giant piece, but they are fully printed. They do move on their own, which is, or not on their own, I should say, but you're able to move one and it moves both of them, which is nice. Tons of printed detail all over the place. Fits, the cockpit will fit both figures, so Ace and Duke both fit in there. Duke will fit in with his backpack on, which is nice. Almost acts like a parachute. Not a parachute that he comes with. That's more of like a rucksack with a sleeping, not like a sleeping bag, I guess. I think that's what that is on his back. So he fits right in there. Actually, that might be a half tent. Sleeping bag or half tent. That is definitely not a parachute. So Duke fits in there. Ace fits up front, which is where he's going to live from now on because of his foot issue. Which, given the context of the figure, it's fine, but like I said, still not something I would have liked. I will be reaching out to Mega to see if they can do something about that. One thing that I will point out that I noticed, you will notice on the cockpit here, we've got names. Captain J. Brad Armbuster, and then a Lieutenant Wayne Ruthell. If you know anything about GI Joe, that is the correct name for Ace, Captain Armbuster. That is not the correct name for Duke. Duke is Sergeant Conrad Hauser. That is not Duke. That is in the co-pilot seat. So, but not the end of the world, because that's actually the name that is on the original. The original Hasbro Skystriker has Lieutenant Wayne Ruthell on it as the co-pilot name. As far as I'm aware, we never actually got a Wayne Ruthell figure. No idea who he is. That's the name that's there. But yeah, that's the only thing I kind of find odd. It's not the end of the world, and it is accurate. But for the casual person who's not too well versed with GI Joe, they may not know who that is, and in the instructions it does actually tell you Duke's real name is Conrad Hauser, and that is not Conrad Hauser right there. So that's just a little inconsistency, but it is accurate to the original toy, so it does get a pass there. Alright, final thoughts. All the figures look great. There are definitely some paint apps missing, but that's okay. Ace QC issue, that needs to get fixed. I do think the Ace and Hiss driver should have come with some sort of weapon. They could have pulled something from Call of Duty, like a M9 1911 or something like that, and that way they're armed. Not the end of the world that they're not. It's acceptable because they are going to be driving and flying, like Ace is going to be doing from all eternity from now on, since he can't stand on his own. Builds themselves, like I said, his tank is a little small. I would have liked to see it a little bit bigger. Only complaint I have about the Skystriker is that the windscreen canopy is printed and those names are not stickers, but it is great that they are printed on, but at the same time I would have liked to see it be where maybe that's the only sticker in the set is the name, so that way we could change them out if we wanted. But it's not the end of the world. It is a great representation of the Skystriker, and I do hope we get to see more GI Joe sets in the future. So make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all those things. And one thing I want to point out on Cobra Commander, you'll notice that blaster I was saying that it doesn't fit on the back, and as far as I can tell, it doesn't. If you know a way to get it on there, please let me know in the comments below. But if you notice, it is on his back in the box art. But as far as I can tell, it doesn't fit on there. So, you can figure it out. Let me know below. Thank you.